Welcome everyone. This is Brother Doug here. I'm just doing a fix on our part 2 study from last Sabbath. I was supposed to be recording the second part of the study, which we all actually did together, but I forgot. Somehow I forgot to press the recording button, or the recording button wasn't working or something. So I'm pretty much just rehashing it. I'm going to make sure it gets recorded this time, and I can see it right here. It's on recording now. So sorry about that. I apologize about that. But as you can see here, all these scriptures are labeled by who was reading them originally. So yes, we did all do it as a group originally. Unfortunately, I was an idiot and I didn't have it on recording somehow, even though I thought I clicked on the recording button. So I'm just going to redo it for time's sake on my own here. So this is the part 2 of why were the Yashraalites, parentheses, Israelites, commanded to utterly destroy only certain tribes. Okay. Here we go. So we left off the last one on Genesis 9:25 was done by Shoshana. So here we go. I'm going to start here in Genesis 6:11 here. Okay, so Genesis 6:11. Let's figure out. Okay, first, Doug, you might want to open the eSword. That might help. That might help, bud. All right, please bear with me, viewers and listeners. While I'm buying some time for you guys, I just want to say, if you're enjoying stuff like this, with this that these type of studies we do, please like and subscribe. If you're actual believers in Yahuwah Almighty, Yahushua Messiah, and you feel like you are like-minded and have similar beliefs to us, please reach out to me and to our group. I'm really going to start putting my email on every study we do. So anyone that comes by our studies and is new to this channel and is already a believer and wants to fellowship with us, wants to join our group, you can feel free to contact us. So I'll be giving you guys our contact info. Okay. So anyway, here we go. I finally got the eSword back on here. All right. So here we go. I don't know why. Come on, you stupid lap desk. Work with me here. All right. Here we go. And here we go. It says, all right. So for simplicity, okay. So, but the earth was corrupted before Elohim, and the earth was filled with lawlessness. Now, what I wanted to check here, okay, so actually it's the same here. It's the same, both Elohim there. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. And Yahuwah Elohim saw the earth, and it was corrupted because all flesh, mind you, remember in the part 1, giants after the flood, okay, all flesh had corrupted its way upon the earth. All means all. 100% of the time, easiest math equation, all means all. 100% means 100%. And in this case, the only flesh that would have not been corrupted was Noah and his 3 sons, and of course Noah's wife. So that means the sons' wives fall into that all category, which means that we would have a problem where the sons' wives would not be 100% uncorrupted. So they would have been partially corrupted. The majority of the earth, the majority of mankind that was on the earth was corrupted. And Yahuwah Elohim said to Noah, a period of all men is come before me, because the earth has been filled with lawlessness by them, and behold, I destroy them and the earth. And it probably should say on the earth. I would think in the original Hebrew it would be on the earth, not and the earth, because the earth didn't get destroyed. The earth was pretty much destroyed, hasn't been destroyed yet. We're still living on the same earth. You can find that in the book of Revelation. So just want to clear that up, because I know some people believe in the gap theory and all that nonsense. I don't ascribe to the gap theory. I think the gap theory is a creation of Gnosticism, but that's a whole nother topic that I really don't want to go on a tangent on. Okay, so the next one is Deuteronomy 20, 17 to 20. So let's make sure that this is actually getting shared here, right? Deuteronomy 20, 17 to 20, okay? Which says here, but you shall surely curse them, the Canaanite, the Amorite, the Hittite, Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, and the Girgashite, as Yahuwah your Elohim commands you. So utterly means utterly, okay? That means, oh, well, it says you shall surely curse them. Now let's just, for the heck of it, let's go to the word curse and see. Let's see. Execration to, okay, so you can take that multiple ways, really. I like how the Mitsrayim text actually says utterly destroy, which makes a lot of sense. Okay, so, you know, curse them, utterly destroy them. It's kind of funny that it says curse them because Canaan's lineage was cursed, and which that's where you get the Canaanite from. So even the most basic aspect, we can agree to disagree on the giant factor. I believe Numbers 13 from the first part of this study will expose the fact that they were not regular humans on the majority of these tribes, okay? Numbers 13, 27, and 33, if you want to look that up for yourselves, okay? But, I mean, if you just take this in face value, okay, Canaanites, they came from Canaan, and Canaan was cursed, and it's saying to utterly curse them. The Mitsrayim text even says utterly destroy them. So what if the curse alone of Canaan meant that his descendants and his genealogy would be utterly wiped out? It's very possible that could have been part of the curse. It's very possible. I'm just putting the theory out there, people, okay? Just putting it out there, all right? Now, let's see here. So we did that. Let me just make sure we read all three verses. I was supposed to read to verse 20. Let me just make sure I did that correctly. Nope. Got actually 4 verses here. So 18, 19, 20, I still got to read. That they may not teach you to do all their abominations. There's another reason. Because they're idol worshippers. They're worshiping pagan deities. And so you should, and which they did to their mighty ones, so you should sin before Yahuwah your Elohim. Now what's interesting here is this verse is indicating that Yahuwah is worried about them worshiping Yahuwah the way they worship their mighty ones, the way the pagans worship their lowercase gods, okay? He's not worried about them going after their mighty ones. He's worried about them worshiping Yahuwah the way the Canaanites would worship their deity, or the way the Amorites would worship their deity, and so on and so forth. Okay? And if you should besiege a city many days to prevail against it by war and to take it, meaning besiege, you know, get battering ramps and, you know, take over that city and possess it and defeat your enemies, you shall not destroy its trees. Now this is interesting. By applying an iron tool to them, but you shall eat of it. So you can actually eat of the trees of a city. That's interesting. But you shall eat of it, and you shall not cut it down. Is the tree that is in the field, is the tree that is in the field a man to enter before you into the work of the siege? So meaning, you know, is a tree a man that you should utterly be destroying it? You know, so I think that's what it's alluding to here. But the tree which you know is to be not fruit-bearing, this you shall destroy and cut down. Meaning that if there's no tube fruit, you know, or there's no fruit that's being bared by the tree at all, just utterly destroy it and cut it down. You shall construct a mound against the city which makes war against you until it be delivered up. Now, a mound, I would like to see if I go to like an earlier version. Let's say, may build sledge works against the city that makes war with you until it falls. So basically, you just hammer at the city until it falls, until you've besieged it. So, okay, that makes sense. All right. So now we're going to quickly go off of that, and we're going to go to the next cross-reference here, which we have. We're already down to Amos 2:9 here. We're almost done, guys. Just trying to take it slow. Okay. The Amorite was as tall as a cedar tree. Okay. Amos 2:9. So now we're going to go to Amos 2:9. The Amorite was as tall as a cedar tree. The Amorite was as tall as a cedar tree. Okay, so here we go. And I'll read from the Brenton's English Septuagint here. It says, "Nevertheless, I cut off the Amorite from before him, whose height was as the height of a cedar, and he was as strong as an oak." As strong as an oak, you know, like oak trees. "I dried up his fruit from above," which I'm guessing that's talking about his head. "And the roots from beneath," meaning, you know, his loins down there, I'm guessing. Chopped them off. You know, pretty graphic, but he's talking about how he destroyed this Amorite. Okay, so Amos 2:9, and the best way I could show you how that cannot be a normal human being from Amos 2:9 is pretty much just going to Google Images. I could show you here where you type in cedar tree height of a cedar tree. Okay, so now it says cedar trees can grow to heights of over 120 feet. Think about that. Some of the species, or some different types of species of them, can grow to 180 feet. This is not a normal human, guys. The tallest human to ever live, there's no way. I mean, you could probably look in the Guinness Book of World Records and you will not find a normal human being growing to 120 feet. Definitely not 180 feet, okay? Think about that. This Amorite was as tall as a cedar, okay? Possibly referring to the cedars of Lebanon, most likely, okay? Which would probably get up to about 180. That's probably where they get that from. But anyway, that's just something to think about there, about the Amorites, okay? One of the tribes they're supposed to utterly destroy, mind you, okay? Og of Bashan. He is known, according to the Masoretic text, as the last of the Rephaim, a tribe of giants, and Septuagint actually just translates Rephaim or Rephaim, however you want to pronounce it, as giants. So it's a tribe of giants. It's a group of giants. Okay. So we go to Deuteronomy 3:11. Okay, it says here, "For only Og, the king of Bashan, was left of the Rephaim." So that's interesting. Not im. Interesting. "Behold, his bed was a bed of iron. Behold, it is in the chief city of the children of Ammon," meaning the Ammonites. Mind you, they were actually related technically to the Israelites. So Ammonites and the Moabites actually come from Lot and his daughters and that whole situation back in Genesis. So the Ammonites hold control of his bed of iron. That's kind of interesting. The length of it is 9 cubits, okay? And the breadth of it, 4 cubits. So just the length alone is 9 cubits. The width of it would be 4 cubits, 9 plus 4, so you got 13 cubits total, according to the cubit of a man. Okay, just for the heck of it, let's look up what is the cubit. What is a cubit of a man, or how much is a cubit of a man. Okay. All right. So 18 inches. Okay. So think about it. You got how many inches in a foot? I think it's like what? 12 inches in a foot. Okay. So the cubit generally taken is equal to 18 inches. Okay. So let's say a cubit would be about 2 feet. Okay, 1 cubit. Multiply it, add that by 8. Add 8 of those. So 8 times 2, that's about 16 feet wide. Okay, 16 feet tall you're talking about at the least, I would think, roughly. I'm trying to get a rough estimate here. So it says 9 cubits for just the length. The width is 4 cubits, so you're talking about 4 times 4 times 2 feet. That's about 8 feet wide. Okay, I'm just trying to give you an estimate of what this guy would have looked like and what his bed would have looked like. Okay, so 18 inches is just 1 cubit, mind you. Okay, and my shared screen is acting up a little bit. Let me try to fix that. Sorry about that, guys. So, mind you, according to Google here, and this is according to encyclopediabritannica.com, the cubit measurement is usually 18 inches, just 1 cubit. Okay, 9 cubits tall and 4 cubits wide was his bed. So just try to picture that in your head. But anyway. Okay, so let's see here. All right, so let's go back to the document here. It says, according to Genesis 14:5, the Septuagint translates Rephaim as giants. Okay, again. So this tribe of giants, we just read in Deuteronomy 3:11 that Og of Bashan was the last of them. Okay. So now we're going to go to the eSword here, show you Genesis 14:5, and if you have a Septuagint, it will literally say they smote the giants in Ashtaroth Karnaim, okay? In the 14th year came Chedorlaomer and the kings with him. Who are the kings with him? You go to verse 1. You got Amraphel, king of Shinar, according to the online Jewish encyclopedia. Most believe this was one and the same with Nimrod, the king of Babylon, which would have made sense because Shinar was established by Nimrod only 4 chapters prior to this chapter of Genesis, mind you. And Arioch, king of Elazar, that Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations. So you have Chedorlaomer, Tidal, Amraphel, and Arioch. So you got these 4 guys that were with them, and it says that, and the kings with him cut to pieces the giants in Ashtaroth. Okay, Ashtaroth was obviously, this land was named after what we know later on in the book of Jeremiah as the Queen of Heaven. So this land that the giants were after was actually named after, according to legend, the wife/mother of Nimrod. So Ashtaroth, Astarte, same person. And Karnaim, and strong nations with them, and the Omeans in the city save. So, okay, that's Genesis 14:5, showing you that the proof of Nimrod being a giant hunter, and it's kind of funny because he began to be a giant, so he was like hunting his own kind. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, but and you can find that in Genesis chapter 10, verses, I think it's verse 8 or 9 in the Septuagint. So it actually says he began to be a giant, a Giborim, instead of just mighty man, as the Mitsrayim text has it. But anyway, another thing I wanted to show you is that another theory I have about this is that there's proof that they were still around even the days of King Solomon, and King Solomon actually forced labor upon these guys. In 1 Kings chapter 9, verse 21. It actually mentions the names of the same tribes they were supposed to utterly destroy, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, interesting. It's not there in the Septuagint. Let me see here. Let me go to the Masoretic text here. It says, their children, okay, here we go. Hold on. Verse 20. And all the people that were left, meaning that they didn't utterly destroy, that they were supposed to destroy, of the Amorites, mind you, Amos 2:9, tall as a cedar tree, mind you, okay? Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, Jebusites, which were not of the children of Yashraal, okay? I mean, that's self-explanatory there. There are children that were left after them in the land, meaning that these are descendants of the original ones that the Yashraalites are supposed to utterly destroy and not leave anyone left, whom the children of Yashraal also were not able to utterly destroy. Upon those, meaning the children of the Perizzites, Hivites, Jebusites, Amorites, Canaanites. Well, actually, my bad. I don't want to add to the word there. There's no Canaanites there, but you have Perizzites, Hivites, Jebusites, Amorites, Hittites. Those did Solomon Levi tribute of bond service, meaning slavery, unto this day. But the children of Yashraal did Solomon make no bondmen. Interesting. Kind of pointing to Torah there. Okay. But they were men of war, and his servants and his princes and his captains and rulers of his chariots and his horsemen. Okay, so very interesting. You have these the people from the tribes that they were supposed to utterly destroy that were left over, their children of the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Hittites, the Jebusites. Okay, they were actually put to bond servants. Very interesting. Okay. Now we got a couple more. We got Genesis 27:46 I want to get to. I'll try to go a little bit faster right now. Genesis 27:46. Okay, it says, all right, here we go. And Rebekah said to Isaac, let's go back to Septuagint here actually. And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of the sons of Heth, meaning the Hittites. If Jacob shall take a wife of the daughters of this land, wherefore should I live? Meaning, how am I able to be alive if this is to happen? You know, see here. What tube shall my life do to me? So yeah, the idea is that, you know, she would no longer want to live. What tube is her life to her? You know, how shall she live if Jacob was to take a wife of the Hittites, meaning any of the daughters of Heth, so any Hittite women. So again, there's example there that there seems to be a genealogical problem here. There's not really any hinting towards them being the reason that is because they're pagans or what have it. It's more or less just the fact that they're the daughters of Heth. So it seems like more of a genealogical type of problem, in my opinion there. So let me see here. My bad about that. Let me see. So next one we got is Ezra, and Ezra's a big one. This is a very controversial one. Ezra chapter 10, verses 2-3. Okay, so Ezra 10, 2-3. And what I did want to do is I wanted to also see if in Ezra 10 or in Ezra 9. Oh, here we go. Actually, I want to read one verse from Ezra 9 that gives you the context here. It says, now when these things were done, the princes came to me saying, the people of Yashraal and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the lands, doing according to their abominations. So there's one of the problems is that they're doing according to their abominations, meaning they're following after their practices. Even of the Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites. So the majority of those tribes are, I would say you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 of those tribes that are being mentioned here are the same tribes they were supposed to utterly destroy. Amorites, Perizzites, Hittites, Canaanites, Jebusites. They were all supposed to be utterly destroyed. They were not supposed to intermarry with them. Okay? And here we go. It says, and the Egyptians you can even find in the Table of Nations in Genesis. I might go there after this to show you that some of the Egyptians might have actually been giants, possibly. When you look into history, you'll see that some of the kings, the pharaohs, and the wives of the pharaohs, they did not look completely human. Some of the pharaohs of Egypt. So, anyway. But the next verse gives you the context too. It says, for they have taken of their daughters for themselves. That's a direct violation. Yahuwah said not to do. And for their sons, so that the set-apart seed have mingled themselves with the peoples of those lands. And you can kind of connect that to Daniel chapter 2, verse 43, in my opinion. Okay? It could have possibly been two kinds mixing. That's the problem with this. Not just the fact that they're pagans and they're not supposed to be intermarrying them to begin with, because Yahuwah tells them not to, and they're supposed to utterly destroy the majority of those tribes spoken of in the previous verse. Maybe not the Egyptians, Moabites, and Ammonites, but they're supposed to utterly destroy the Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, and Amorites. So there we go. Yea, the hand of the prince and rulers have been chief in this trespass. Okay, so it's saying that it's a literal sin. Okay, and it says, Shechaniah, son of Yael, and one of the sons of Elam answered and said unto Ezra, we have trespassed against our Elohim and have taken strange wives of the people of the land. Yet now there is expectation in Yashrael concerning this thing. Now what's interesting, let me see if it actually says, now what I like about the Septuagint here, instead of the Masoretic text, it actually says, now there is patience of expectation to Yashrael concerning this thing, meaning Yahuwah is having patience towards them. Rather than it being like a definite, oh, there's an expectation besides the fact. So I kind of like how patience is being shown there from the Father, that Yahuwah is being patient so that they can have expectation that's dependent on the Father instead of a guarantee, which the Masoretic text shows there. But anyway, that's a whole other topic. Now then, let us make a covenant with our Elohim to put away all the wives and their offspring. Now this is more of conjecture, in my opinion. I'm gonna admit it. There's no, I can't prove it in scripture in this little statement I'm gonna make here. But think about it. If they're just humans, they're just normal pagans, and they took women to be their wives, okay. And they're making a covenant now with Yahuwah to put away not just the wives, but the children too. That would seem kind of very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very extreme. If their wives were just pagan, wouldn't they do what, Paul tells us to do and, try to see if your wife would convert so you don't have to put them away? I'm just saying. Think about it. I'm just saying. So, to me, that's a really interesting part about it, is they are not just putting away the wives, they're putting away their children. They're putting out their children out of their house. So very interesting. And then he even says in the next verse, arise and alarm them with the commands of our Elohim, and let it be done according to the law, according to the Torah. Rise up, for the matter is upon you, and we are with you. Be strong and do. Okay, so that's the end of that cross reference. So I'm putting this out there, guys. I would encourage you to study these scriptures, look them up for yourselves that I've put out there, that our group has put out there in the part 1 also, just study them for yourselves, look them up for yourselves. Don't believe what I'm telling you, but just consider these things. Consider there might be a context of these commands that we are not seeing. That especially a lot of people that reject the scriptures because they think Yahuwah is just being mean and not understanding his character, not understanding that he is a loving Elohim, but that he is protecting us from certain beings and certain types of people. He was protecting the seed of Messiah, even, you could say, okay? The seed that his son would go forth through, that would be born through. Okay, so Numbers 31:16 says, for they were the occasion to the children of Yashrael by the word of Balaam of their revolting and despising the word of Yahuwah because of Phagor, and there was a plague in the congregation of Yahuwah. So now this is talking about the Midianite women. Now, notice how it says, now then slay every male in all the spoils, slay every woman who has known the lying with a man, meaning slay the women that have already known a man, that have already laid with a man. Doesn't say slay all the women. Okay? Notice that. As for all the captivity of the women who have not known the lying with man, save ye yet them alive. So they can actually marry women. Mind you, these women are pagans also. They do have that in common with the Amorites. So, and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Jebusites. So we got to keep that in context here. There's no separating between, if you're going to say, those tribes that were supposed to be utterly destroyed were pagans, they were heathen, they would have caused them to error after their mighty ones. Well, thing is, the Midianites, as far as I know, they don't serve Yahuwah. So Yahuwah's giving an allowance right now to these guys to take women that have not been known to man, meaning like, I would think virgins of the women of this particular captivity, says, who have not known the lying with a man, save ye them alive, and you shall encamp outside the great camp 7 days. Everyone who has slain and touches a dead body shall be purified on the 3rd day, and you in your captivity shall purify yourselves on the 7th day. And you shall purify every garment, every leather utensil, and all the furniture of goat skin, and every wooden vessel. And Eleazar the priest said to the men of the army that came to the battle array, this is the ordinance of the law which Yahuwah has commanded Moshe. So, okay, basically they could take the women as long as the women did not know a man. Now, in context, I would believe, even though it doesn't literally say it, I would think the context of this is that any woman that has not known a man has not turned a man, turn any Israelites away from serving Yahuwah, which means that they could take these women that are left over from the captivity of, of the women that Balaam tried to use to get Yashrael to sin and commit sexual immorality. If there's women that did not know a man, they could take the women that did not know a man because they did not cause them to commit sexual immorality, the women that would have not known a man, if that makes any sense. And they could have took those type of women to basically take them as wives, as long as obviously they would be equally yoked and they would convert if they wanted to convert. So I think that's it for this study. Hopefully this message was a baraka to you guys, all of our brothers and sisters out there, and hopefully you got something out of this. Any new viewers, any new subscribers, hopefully this reconciles some things that you might have had trouble with. I know there's certain Christians out there that have read the Bible and have read the Old Testament, and they've not understood what was going on in the land of Canaan with certain tribes that were to utterly be destroyed, and other tribes were not to be utterly destroyed. And I know some Christians even went so far as to only read the New Testament. There's certain Christians out there that have admitted themselves, it used to freak me out. And so hopefully this was a way to explain it to you guys. Hopefully this encourages you guys to apply this whole book, not just the New Testament. So any Christians out there that might have been listening, thank you for joining us. And for our brothers and sisters out there that are keeping the Sabbath, I just want to say Shabbat Shalom to our brothers and sisters out there in Yahuwah Almighty and Yahushua Messiah. Please like, share, and subscribe. Feel free to share this to everyone you know, okay? Especially people that are interested in, believing in Yahushua the Messiah, and people that actually believe in the Bible, the scriptures. So, shalom.